Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Professor Vinesh.
Hi,
Uh,
hi.
Hi, everybody.
hi. Good evening, everyone, for
Good
joining.
evening.
We will wait for 1 more minute for everyone to join, and then we can start. Okay.
Perfect.
Guys, just wanted to confirm, are we recording this session as well so that I can share it with my colleagues later on?
Yes, sure. We will be recording it, and anyone who is not been able to join the session, we will be having a series of playlist on YouTube. This will be live on YouTube later, and access to the resources which will be shared in the workshops as well will be provided in the description box of the video.
Perfect.
Right, so I think we can start, and then anyone who wants to join later, they can join. So again, thanking you for joining this session, and it's currently 4 p.m. in India, and so good evening, and anyone who is watching otherwise or in any other country in any other time zone, good morning, good afternoon to everyone. And I'm very thankful for the professors who joined and accepting the special and exclusive invitations which we sent over the emails. And we also noticed that you were recently active on the PrepAI community and registered over there. So this is a special and exclusive invite for that, and we will be going to discuss a very beautiful thing in this session about research and how we can efficiently use tools and how we can efficiently design our week, and we will be discussing about the workload which the professors have, and all those things will be data backed and will be shared with the sources of how we are saying those things and how we have reached to certain conclusions. Before that, I would like to introduce myself. I am Adarsh, and I work in data to biz as a technology advisor for higher education. I have been talking to professors and lecturers from last 4 years from the different regions, specifically in Africa, some parts of Asia, as well as from Australia and some parts of US. So I have a lot of experience of observing patterns and recognizing what is happening on day-to-day basis to faculties and what problems they are facing, or uh, basically how their week is going, their workflows, and all those understandings. So I will be not going in the details of how we should publish a research paper, or how what methodologies we should use, or what general topics we should choose. I think all of the professors who are watching this, they are more than very much expert and experienced in their departments, so to get those details themselves. But what we will be doing in the session will be more on the lines of uh, we will be discussing about the challenges and the workload which is there in the universities and institutes they are working. We'll be discussing about the funding and the infrastructure challenges which the universities are not able to provide in terms of research. We will be discussing on those lines, right? How we can better manage our week and save some hours so that we can, like, we will be discussing on those lines, not on the expertise. So I think before starting, if anyone, I will like to make this session interactive. So anyone have any questions, please ask in between, or if you feel you can put it in the chat box as well. We can discuss it later, right? So anyone who have any questions, they can raise their hands and then we can discuss in between, or directly unmute and ask them, right? So before starting, if anyone have any questions, it's fine. Otherwise, let me share the presentation and then we can start.
Not at this stage. Maybe we can proceed. Yes, I think we can go ahead.
Mhm. Right. I think my screen is visible. Can anyone of the
Yes,
faculties can you
yes,
see?
it is.
Right. So this is, as I mentioned, this is going to be the exclusive workshops which we do. We have already conducted so many workshops on different sessions, but those were generic workshops in terms of how to use tools and AI, how to better manage their work, and how to design assessments and all those topics in different countries like Kenya, Ghana, South Africa, India, right? So many workshops and talk to so many professors, but uh, from those interactions and from the personal interactions as well, we could figure out some of the pain points, or some of the topics which they were highly interested during those previous workshops, which one of which was when we were teaching them how to prompt or how to use AI. They were very, and those were research topics, so they were very um, specific about that, and they wanted to have those types of workshops in very detail, right? How to publish more effectively, not in terms of the topic, not in terms of the research areas, not in terms of the motivation, but in terms of how they can better save their hours and how they can structure the whole thing, right? So that was very misorganized earlier, unorganized, but we have come up with a series of these types of premium workshops which we will be doing. Today is the first session on the 14th of March. The next session will be on 31st March, and similarly in the 15 days gaps. And I would request all of the faculties to join those sessions, right? Those are special workshops which I hope you will learn a lot from those, right? So yeah, so to start off with, I would like to reiterate the agenda of today. It's to better reduce the time of submission, right? Not, we will be discussing not about the submission, but how we can reduce our workload and the time. We will be discussing about improving the journal fit. This is also very important discussion which we have felt, which we have discussed earlier with different faculties, but we have come to a structured discussion about this, that how we are going to improve this, and why there are so many cases of rejections of when they submit their citations and papers, right? Why they get rejected. We'll be discussing about the general fit. We will be discussing about the clarity, why it gets rejected. We'll be also we will try to have some hands-on experience of using some of the tools which are very specific to research, right? How there are so many LLMs, there are so many tools, but how these whatever tools they have specific to research, we'll be discussing some of them, right? We'll be discussing how we can, what is the importance of building a network, what is the importance of building a personal brand, how to approach anyone, how anyone would approach you, right? All those things we'll be discussing, and based on these networking and collaboration, the next upcoming workshops will also be there, right? So all these things are interlinked and in a row. These are some of the tools which we are going to discuss today, and some information which are there in the workshop are taken from these sites, right, from these sources. So coming to the next thing, what after this workshop will be ending, after the end of this session, what we are going to learn, what will the outcomes, right? So we'll be able to figure out and diagnose the top barriers in research, right? What is acting as a barrier, or a bottleneck when we are not able to publish a research on time, or not even publish it anyway, right? So we'll be discussing that, and all these will be based on the surveys of different societies and different organizations. So they are highly based on the data. We'll be discussing about the application of AI augmentation in the research flow, right? We'll be discussing how you can use Perplexity, that is one of the tools to produce research landscapes. How you can use OpenClaw, that's a very new tool and it's very good. A lot of feedback has came, and how you should use it for the automation. There are some other tools like PrepAI, and how you can use it to produce the instruments or item banks, right? We'll be also discussing about the collaboration, how, because you are in certain institute and you are in a bubble where or maybe you are in some societies of your uh, region, or some, for example, from a mathematics department, you will be in the society of mathematics, or a bubble like that, but how to break that bubble and come beyond to that, right? So how to find collaboration opportunities beyond your institution, how to adopt proven publication strategies, right? How you would be producing concrete artifacts and then sharing it for the peer reviews and submitting it online, right? How all those things will be done without sharing your sensitive data on the internet, right? All those ethics and everything we will be able to learn after we will be finishing this session. And right, so we have discussed so far what we are going to learn and discuss today. Maybe now coming to the data which we were talking about, we should see a very important data before we come to the solution part of it, right? Why we are discussing all those things, and this is the data of state of faculty development report, and it's a national survey, right, which was done on 1089 faculty members. This was the survey size, and it clearly shows, if you will see, it clearly shows that funding, what the conclusion of this is, that the funding is decreasing, and the expectation and the personality development expectations from the faculties is increasing, right? Which the two of the things are contradicting. How they if the funding will decrease, how you will be able to grow more, or reach to wider audiences, right? How you will be able to publish more papers. So this clearly shows that this percentage, 72.2% reports decreased institutional fundings, right? This has been decreased, and this is very major concerns when we talk to other professors. 70 people out of 100, it shows the importance of personality development, right? The faculty themselves have rated in this survey, right? 70 people are expected to focus on the PD, personality development, right? But these two are contradicting. So either they will have to increase the funding, or they will have to reduce the expectations, which is not good. So they should increase the funding. So this is one of the very important gaps. 64% of the peers who participated in this survey rely on the social networks or informal systems. When the system comes to an informal and non-structural way, automatically the time which it will take to produce, cite, or scope, or review the literature, it is going to be so long, because you will not be able to find the right peers, the right assistants for your research. So it is automatically going to take a lot of time. So this is also a gap which was identified, the informal systems. 30% of the people rely on institutional wide networks only, right? So whatever is, if it's a bigger institution, it's fine, it's very good. But if it's a smaller institution, that also, the point is that it is restricted some or the other way. So these are some of the important, this is very big report. We can share it after the session gets over. I will be sharing this presentation as well, so we can go on this and see very important data facts. But these are the four important things which I could bring in this call to see why this gap is widening, right? And an important quote which was mentioned in this article again was that the support is disappearing. One of the faculty mentioned that the support is disappearing, but the expectations are increasing, right? So they were, it is little sad for the faculty that these two things are happening. At least they should, according to them, they are expected to have their job is teaching, but they are expected to have a lot of administrative tasks as well. Research comes very later, which is their personal thing, and again the university some or the other way follows up what's the status on that research or how many papers you have published, because the university ranking goes up. But again, there needs to be a support, right, which is disappearing, and expectations are increasing. So again, which is shown by this chart. And what we can imply from this is that AI enabled workflows, and so the productivity now depends on more on AI enabled workflows, right? uh, Whether they want it or not want it, they have to rely on LLMs, they have to rely on the other tools which are there to save the time, to squeeze out the time, which because they have to anyhow they have to submit the paper by missing the short deadline or delaying from some days, but they cannot completely miss it. So they have to introduce some or the other way. So a lot of this has shown that they have used an AI enabled workflows and the softwares in coming last two. This is from 2026, but these have shown the data from 2023. So in 2 years they have started using it, but they were not very acceptance towards using those softwares, which again comes to the next survey of CSUF, which was published in 2025, and this shows that 55% of LLMs using the force of using the LLM have increased 55% of their workload, right? Which is increased 31% in 2025. It was there, but it has increased by 31%, right? So and this 56 or 55% again is shown by this data. The LLM impact distribution harder, it is 25%, which is increased, and 31% is significantly increased. So coming to 56% of total increase in the workload. Before that, it was no change. There was no change before that, right? So it was hardly any change, but it has from the last 2 years, it has increased from 25% and 31%, which is a total coming to 56 or 55%. 50 approximately 61 people was 61 peers and faculties have participated in this survey, and 48% of them directly said that the workload was very unreasonable. They were not very happy with the workload. It was fine, but for them to work, but it was unreasonable amount of work which they were doing, and that was not coming to an outcome. And again, that report shows that 60% of the universities and the institutions emphasize more on the larger class size rather than the quality of the class which the professor is taking. So all these are the problems which are proven by the data, but we have listened to them from so many years. We are talking to professors, right? So these are some um, things which we got to figure out, and we could plan to make some kind of effort to make this to solve this type of issue in the faculty community, right? So if we have to come to a solution part, right, how we can make things better and how we can squeeze out some time, and how we can make citations and publications better apart from this workload, how we can do this better by using some of the tools like Perplexity, OpenClaw, PrepAI. These are three tools which I have mentioned, but there are n number of tools, and so many tools which are available, right? So we will be seeing some of the examples in this workshop. If the faculty who is seeing this workshop, they like sessions like these, we will be continuing this more and more. We will be going deep in each of the tools. We'll be discussing more tools, but for this call we'll be discussing three tools. For example, Perplexity. You can use this for deep research. Very good uh, thing done by this software is that they provide links of and the citations of the articles or the queries which you ask them. So they have very good deep research. you can focus on the academic part only, right? This is widely used by the researchers and faculties who are actively involved in some kind of surveys or doing research or publishing journals, right? OpenClaw, as I mentioned in the starting, it's very good open source local agent. A lot of faculty had this problem that they were in a fear of losing their sensitive data. So they said that when we upload our sensitive data on these LLMs, on these tools, how much security is, right? So one good thing about OpenClaw is that it is it also has an option to run on your local system, so that prevents to upload some of the data and goes uh, and it has some sense of security. You don't upload it on the cloud, it stays on your system. So we'll be seeing some of the examples in the later slides of how we can use this Perplexity, OpenClaw, PrepAI, how we can uh, better use it to post check and pre-check, create item banks and rubrics, right? We will be seeing professors spending a lot of time on going manually creating assessments and then sending it to postgraduate students and then uh, seeing the reports and then coming to a conclusion. But by using these tools we can automate and we can fast track whatever work they were doing manually earlier. For example, if we go to Perplexity, one of the example prompts I have written: find 10 recent peer reviewed sources from any topic, for example, of your interest, and summarize gaps and cite whatever you find out, right? From 2022 to 2026, 4 years data. A similar prompt I have given to Perplexity, and let's see how it has come up with, right? So for example, how we can best use of Perplexity and tools like this is, for example, I have given: provide a concise academic research brief on this topic. This is a very famous research: protein measurement with Follin phenol reagent. This is a very famous research from OH Lowry, right? And it is widely used by the researchers. It is very old and very famous research. It was publicly available, that's why I am using it in this workshop. Provide a concise and academic research brief on this topic. I have asked it to create a short research landscape. We can use it for creating landscape. We can use it to find the 6 important academic studies. Literature review, which takes a lot of times, at least 2 to 3 days, if you do it manually, right? Find the major research gap, which again you provide it to your research assistants, and they take a lot of time due to the procrastination, and again things goes delay. So I'm just showing you some of the use cases which you can do and explore from these tools. Compare common research methodologies. Everyone have different methodologies, and that's a common factor whether your paper will get published or it will get rejected, right? So methodologies are reputable academic journals that publish research on this topic, right? So this is, and provide citations and links of the original source wherever possible, right? This is a small prompt, example prompt, which I am giving you. These types of tool will give you more and more refined and good outcome if your prompt gets better and better, right? So you, if the more better your prompt is, the more better your output will be. So for example, for this prompt, and it also shows how it is thinking, how it is gathering those information, which website it is scrolling, how, which sources it is using. So if even if you have some doubt or some, again you want to revisit, you want to make sure it is verified, then this is very good tool for you to go on these links and then verify yourself. So it is very good for the researchers which I have talked to, recently. So again, it has provided me the landscapes, the key findings, with whatever I asked. And the important thing is it is giving me the citations and the links of the information where it is fetching it from. That is good for me, that I can go there and I can read it myself if I have some doubt or I want to verify. It is giving me the methodology comparison of the researcher, the peers who have different contribution in the same research paper. So all these are the use cases. This is one of the use cases which I showed you, at least 5 or 4 use cases. There are so many use cases which you can do, right? If we come to tools like PrepAI, right? It is helping to create assessments or create reports which you can use directly. They are very highly and accurate reports. So if I have to show you an example activity which you can do is create a postgraduate level assessment on topic. For example, I have taken again the same research paper and I have asked it to generate 8 questions and item banks identifying the research problems and differentiating between qualitative and quantitative mix of research, right? And the output which I am expecting is for each answer it should include the model answer, the marking scheme, and the brief explanation of reason of making brief explanation, and expected the reason to make this for masters and early PhD students, right? Which will help again to find out the good students who I can take from this survey to help me in this research papers. It has created some MCQs and some open-ended questions. So this is very good tool for me, so that I don't have to brainstorm and manually sit down and create these types of questions to ask my students. These are the outputs which is it is giving me some questions, some explanations, right? So this is one tool which I can use for creating instructions and item banks. It also create reports which I can directly log in and be transparent when I will be submitting it to the peer, or I will be wanting a feedback. I would be very transparent of using AI tools like these and submitting these reports, so that it can directly verify the information which is there. It is also coming up with the feedbacks of each student one by one, whoever have attempted these types of survey, right? So these types of tools are there. We were talking about OpenClaw. It is a new tool which has come up and it runs on your local machine. It can do, it can automate and your workflows. For example, sending an outreach email to multiple people, right? It has its own memory, right? It has browser control. You can go and leave your task and then it will do it for you. It will do for you. You can provide the full system access if you have anything, if it has any dependency. It has so many plugins and so many apps which you can directly plug in and start using it by interlinking these things, right? So these are some of the example tools which I showed you. There can be hundreds of more which you, according to your specific subject area, your expertise, you can use. But at least we should start using it, and we should start appreciating whoever uses it, share the feedback, share about the drawbacks, the good part of it, and then we can I think we have some questions. Yes, Rohini.
So, Adarsh, I wanted to ask one thing. You just showed us all the tools.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that has been running in my mind since a while now. And I also want to hear what you have to say about this. Like, how do we ensure that AI tools actively save time
Mm-hmm.
instead of creating additional work?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So this is, there is a very fine and thin line gap between this and it is a doubt of almost all the professors. They're little hesitant, but also they want to use it because everyone is using it. So we have to understand that you don't have to. I stated there is a whole workflow. We have to be very structural to where we are using AI. We don't have to completely rely on using it. Whatever is produced by AI, we should verify. All of the professors should verify whatever is coming, not even one, two, or three times. The more important thing, we call QC, right? Quality control. We should verify the important things twice or thrice. We should give it to the research assistants and provide that information and verify that information. So what we have seen, the professors who were resistant to it, initially they have started using it. They have slowly they have started using it, and the initial benchmarks says and these were from the workshops which we have done, is that they were able to like save 5 to 15% of their time weekly, right? So I think for the initial thing, it's a good benchmark to start off with. So it's a very thin line, professor, between how it should not distract you, whatever you are doing, but you should very smartly and efficiently use AI. And we should also log the access, whatever systems you are using, whatever information you are using. As I mentioned, the reports created by PrepAI or the citations produced by Perplexity, you should keep a log. So whenever a reviewer or a publisher asks you to show the data behind it, you should be able to produce that okay, this was generated by AI and this is the verification logs of it, right? Where you used it and for what purpose you used it. Yes, Professor Abhishek.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for sharing such a list of tools which we can use. But I also had a similar line of question because, as you mentioned, three tools just now: Perplexity, PrepAI, and I believe OpenClaw was the third one. And you also mentioned that there are other tools as well which we can use for maybe different use cases while doing the complete process of research paper publication. But my question would be like, how practical is it for us as professors with obviously heavy teaching loads on our day-to-day workflow to follow this research workflow where we are using one tool for maybe one use case, another for some other use cases?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So that is the whole significance and the importance of this session. So to make faculties and peers more aware about these types of workflows and the tools which exist, and instead of instead of a heavy and long interrupted research gaps. So if some work comes, so what we have talked to different professors, they say they start doing something today and then there is a long gap in their when they are able to resume and continue, and that gaps happens because of their other workloads, for example teaching, for example administrative tasks. So the importance of this is that you start using these types of platforms and software slowly, and not have long research gaps. Instead have small repeatable processes, and those repeatable processes and workflows can be designed by these softwares, which will be studying more in the upcoming slides. So this is there. So there is a very important and key thing in this, that you have to make your small tasks smaller, and they should be smaller and can be automated and can be repeatable. So those are the things, and not completely rely on these types of tools, but just to give them some time and some work to do, and then verify whatever the output comes, right? So these are the things which I feel can be done to maximize the output and the efficiency.
Okay.
I think adding on to what you just said, do you think choosing the right workflow is also very important for us to be able to manage time?
Yes, very important. Depending on because uh, this is for the all the professors from different expertise areas. So choosing the right workflow and choosing the right mechanism for your own use case, right? So everyone is doing different types of research questions they're handling. So some people are discovering a new thing, some people are filling some gaps in already existing research. So not completely relying or adopting somebody's mechanism or somebody's workflow, that would be again the session objective is to save time in workload, that will be hampered. But what we should do is we should be aware of all the tools and all those softwares, all the things which exist, what others are doing, we should be aware. But after the end of the day, we should be able to design our own mechanism which will be efficient for you as only, right, not anybody else. So I think that is very important. We should be aware about the tools, what it does, but how to use it, or even if to use it or not use it, that is completely depends on the individual professor. So having a specific workflow is very, very important, Professor Rohinish.
Understood. Understood. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we can continue with our session. So yeah,
Yes.
so I think we discussed a good so far. We discussed the challenges, we discussed the evidences, we discussed the surveys, we discussed the gaps which are there. We discussed how to use these tools and how to give better prompts in these, and how to um, take whatever we want from these tools, right? They can do a lot of things, but what we want from them is very, very important, as Professor Rohinish mentioned now, to have very, very specific outcomes from these tools. Coming to the next thing, and that is very, very important in terms of research. There is no skill gap, or there is no knowledge gap, but what we analyzed and what I observed as a pattern so far was the power of networking and the power to collaborate to find the right author with writing the same paper, right? So uh, they had they were there exist different types of expertise and different types of author, but they were not able to collaborate and find out the right partner for them, right? So what we can utilize and what we have observed is in the faculty group and in the professors group, that they like undermine the importance of LinkedIn, Reddit, right? Pivot is again a very good platform for networking, right? Research communities, right? So we observed this pattern, and we again, there are some professors who actively use it, but the most of the population we met were very, very not very active on these platforms, and they had uh, very, very undervalue thoughts for these platforms. And the upcoming sessions will also be focusing on these things, right? Why and how you should have your LinkedIn profile very, very good, your Reddit profile, why you should be active on that, why your Google Scholar profile should be looking very good, how Google indexes your profile. All those things we'll be focusing on. And but in this session, let's assume that you have a very good LinkedIn profile, Reddit profile, you are active on Pivot platforms like Pivot or any other platforms. You are in some LinkedIn communities or PrepAI community or communities, research communities, right, or local WhatsApp groups. You are active on those. Then we will be discussing small things, right? How you can start collaborating. Some simple keywords we would want to share that you can use in your daily life to make things better, maybe by 5 or 10 minutes, but that's also very important. So LinkedIn, that is again a search. You have to, for example, there are different methodologies. For example, meta analysis or RCT. You have to search by the method or domain. From who are you finding? You don't have to make unlimited number of network or contact. What the problem what we faced, or we saw in professors they faced was they were able to create a lot of network, but not the right network, not the quality but the quantity. That was the problem. So we will be discussing some workflow of how you can better use LinkedIn and outreach, how you can be active on the subreddits. There are very important and good subreddits on the platform. For example, Ask Academia or research, right? People and professors are very active there. You can ask for collaboration tactics, funding, what is their templates. More importantly, making it a structure, not just asking for help. You have to make a complete structure, and we will be coming to that. What is that structure you should approach to somebody for collaboration, right? Things and softwares like Pivot, if you have a subscribed version, that's also good, right? You can track your calls, you can collaborate with anyone worldwide, right? Repeated co-investigation networks, which is important in research. They have spot labs. You can make and leverage that. You can pair with the scholars and LinkedIn for outreach context, right? All these things are very interlinked. So people and professors who are in research, they are very active. Twitter is also one of the good platforms if it is active in your area. People are very active there on the research. Communities like PrepAI, it is helping professors to share. It is an open community where professors come and share their thoughts and ideas on the assessments, on the research topics, on the rubrics or item banks. So we have to be active on these platforms and make our profiles very good. We have to understand how to make our profiles very good, what is the importance of networking, why it is important, right? All those things are important, and I know a lot of you will be doing that already, but for some population who is not, it is important to reiterate. uh, Outreach tactics, right? We would be we can take a very big session on this, but to understand it very quickly, the structure which I was talking about, we coming to that, we should we should share a very simple and structured subject line, that what is your collaboration idea and what is the methodology, and you have to ask them for a 15 minutes scoping review call, right? Whether they are interested or not. Not very informal, just coming to straight to the point. What is the problem you are solving, why you approached them, that is also very important. What you have as of now, because you have something which is good in you and you want looking for something else. What is the timeline and what are the next steps you are expecting from them, right? Very important short paragraph. And then the requirement, what are the access logs, which whatever you have saved as of now, what are the specific roles of the persons who are already in the team, what are the authorship agreement or the plan which you want to give them after the paper gets published, what are the targets and timeline. This is very simple strategy, can be used on the email, can be used on the LinkedIn or different messaging platforms, right? So very crisp and very straight to the point. So this is important and we can describe it in very big sessions, but as of now this is for the importance of it. And coming to now coming to how we can from idea, whatever we have, some informal idea, some interest area we have, how we can come to submission and how it can be, how it can have an impact, right? In very simple steps. If you notice, all these steps have very important thing, which is quality control in all of these. So we cannot be simply using perplexity for scoping, or OpenClaw or PrepAI or checklist, right? All these we can use, but very important thing is we should take some QC, we should keep some KPIs. After using that, after it produces some output, you have got the result. Because you are doing research, you should do QC yourself. And for example, some QC methods I have written. For example, you use scoping for requirement and contribution, and and getting the preliminary analysis of your research topic. You ask for the one page cited landscape, which we just saw in Perplexity, or the gap document. And then what you should, this is the output that the software will produce, but what we should do, as what is our responsibility and our ethics, is to verify those the resources which is it has given. Lot of resources, you just have to verify two primary resources. For example, it can be more, it can be less, it can be different according to the use case, but this is just an example. For example, you are using OpenClaw for evidence. You can keep PDFs or avoid fake citations, and that will be done only when you verify it. You can ask tools like PrepAI to define outcomes and pre-register if you need it, right? Use the pilot items or rubric plans and give it to the students. See how they are performing, how what reports are generated, what is the actual feedback from them, right? So these are some of the QC from different tools we should do. Very good tool. There is tools like checklist. We should for example, you get output like draft alignment or report standardization. You get these types of output, then what you have to do as a QC is you should be able to see the thinking behind it and reproduce the codes if it is required in your access logs, right? And what are the limitations of the steps which were involved in creating this output. If you are again, you are going to submit, or if you have a pre-submission, you can verify it from the Perplexity, you can follow some instructions, right? So these are some of the important thing which we should take from this slide, is that the quality control part or the verification part is very important, not completely relying on these tools or on these types of workflows, right? This is there. And as I mentioned, Professor Rohinish, in one of your answers, we saw 5 to 15% of time saved in the initial benchmark which was set up in the first 4 to 6 weeks in the previous workshops which we did, right? So these are some of the parameters and some of the impacts which we were able to design and curate, but this can be different for different methodologies. I think we already discussed the use cases of PrepAI, Perplexity, OpenGlaw, PrepAI, right? And these are some of the again, this number which we got, 5 to 15%, is from the initial benchmarks which we were able to calculate from approximately 85 uh, hours saved per weeks from 61 faculties which this survey we did, right? So these are some of the things which we can start doing actively to make our research and squeeze out some of the time. And when we are coming from the idea, the submission, we discussed the scoping mechanisms, the scoping reviews and calls, how to do outreach. Now coming to the end stage part of why some of the journal gets rejected, why there is some problem in publish it, why it is not publishable, right? So very important part, as I mentioned in the starting as well, is the journal.
Adarsh, so sorry to interrupt you, but I think if you can take a question I have.
You are
Hello.
audible.
Yes, Professor Rohinish, you had some questions. Sorry for the disturbance. It was problem with my internet.
Okay, no worries. Can you go to the slide where you talked about collaborations?
One second. Okay. Let
Uh,
me know if you can see my screen or you can see the slides.
I can see your screen. No, before this.
Mm-hmm. The collaborate slide, yes.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. So I think here you talked about the PrepAI community,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And before this meeting, I also got some time to spend on the PrepAI community website.
Mm-hmm.
I did see some papers there. I did see some profiles of professors. I did see some faculty pages. And I had one question regarding that,
Mm-hmm.
which is how do we find like reliable collaborators outside our own institution and outside our own immediate social circles of professors? How do we do that?
Yes, that is the importance of these types of community, and we are glad you signed up and you registered for you were able to spend some time on community PrepAI community. But there exist a lot of more communities and groups where you can find those types of professors, and we will be in the next coming slides, we will be sharing some of the methods by which you can directly find. We will be sharing some of the keywords. We will be telling how you can directly find those collaborators for you. And then once you connect with them, that is not where the game stops. After that also you have to send and ask them for a specific and structural help, right? So you will be able to find, you will have to spend some times to come out of your institution circle and spend times on these types of LinkedIn communities, PrepAI community. And I know there exist a lot more, right? So we have to come out and then start exploring, start finding. We have to start connecting, not quantity wise but quality wise. We will be sharing the keywords of how you can find them, how you can Google search them, how you can find them on Google Scholar, or you can find them on ResearchGate. And then send them specific one page brief proposal, what you should write in that proposal, what exact thing you are looking for, why you are reaching out to them, right? All those things become very important when you come to the collaboration outside of your network, because it becomes very restricted and it becomes very limited after a certain point, your personal institutional network, right? We have to explore outside the institution, so that is important.
Got your point. Got your point.
Yeah, right. So we were on I think before disconnecting, we were on this slide of, we were talking about why the public, how you should come to the publishable side. After you get the idea, you submit it, you reviewed it by your peers, you find right collaborators, but how you should be able to come to the publishable segment, right? How you should start getting your papers accepted. So very important point which we found was the misalignment of the manuscript with the journal, right? So the audience, the aims and the scope should match your audience type, your where where the journal in which you are submitting. So that was very important misalignment in getting the papers rejected. So that is what we have learned, and we have observed this pattern so far. So and this is very simple and very basic step, very initial step, but we have to spend very long time in this step only, that whether our topic or our research question, is it adding value in the modern age or the recent age, or is it a old topic, or is it a topic, is it a old research in which there is a gap and you are filling that gap. So we should be able to spend a lot of time on this manuscript and journal fit. So this is very important in getting our papers publishable and accepted. And also I have observed that talking to different professors, that there is a structure and transparency design misalignment, right? So they need clear objective, not aim but the objective of that aim, and contributions should be very structured of what we are actually going to find out, what are the methods and limitations of it. It cannot be perfect, and that's fine. uh, and the labeling and designing of your tables and whatever data you are going to produce in that, right? We can I have tried to summarize these points here, but we can go on these articles of AAMC, and we can I will be when I will be sharing this PDF with you, you can be able to go to these articles, and if you want you can spend more time to learn about how you can better do your uh, fit on journal or manuscript, or you can better structure and make your paper transparent, right? There is some important and very well known frameworks, Consort, Prisma and Straub, which all of the faculties use. We should it's a basic step, but a lot of them miss it. We should be able to uh, check our progress based on these frameworks. And the submission hygiene, again, it's very important. The conflict of interest document, the data and the code documents, they are very important when it comes to the submission. The Also, one of the important things in the rejection of those papers are the transparency of these logs, which I mentioned. If you are using AI, then you should use the AI logs. If you have some tables or diagrams or flowcharts, they should have the specific, if they are taken from different papers, they should cite them, they should give the source credit, all of those things should be there. This is the fast pre-submission quality assurance we can do in 10 minutes, and we should take it from this slide, is that title and extract should match with the objective and the keywords of our main paper. The figures should be readable, they should not be hazy and blurred. Methods can be reproduced by, your methodology can be reproduced by different upcoming researchers. Checklist as applicable is attached, and it can follow these types of frameworks. And we can learn more from this article which is on the masterclass nature. And these links are clickable. If we want to learn more about these methodologies, we can definitely go and read it, right? one page brief in which we could do as the time is getting to close, but we can do from this workshop. Or I would request everyone who have joined, they can do this activity after this call or on the weekend, and then email us or submit it on the PrepAI community, as you have already registered, and we would be happy to have those types of submissions from your side. What you can do is you can build a one page brief, and we expect it to be under 25 minutes. And these are the aims of those documents, that you have to pick a research question. Whatever we learned from this session, we should be able to apply that in your expertise area. You can use PrepAI if you require draft instruments or 5 items, for example, right? Do a micro rubric, ask it to give a rubric, and then ask it to create some items for you. Export or share whatever you think is fitting that document. So whatever we learned, we will be happy if you can submit one page of your learning from this session. And I have on different slides, I have given some of the example prompts to start off with. If somebody having some difficulty, they can start using these prompts, and then start creating and using these tools. So these are some prompts of the different softwares which we discussed, right? You can for the verification of the document which you will create, you can skim two full text sources. You can match key claims to the citations from the perplexity. Do not paste the restricted area, that is also very important. And write one line AI disclosure of whatever you have used, and that is a good practice when you also submit it for the peer review in future, when you submit your uh, papers, right? Coming to the end of the session, this was again activity 2, which we can do again. How you can this was for publishing and doing research and using the tools, and the second part of the session, which was there for the networking and how you can find a collaborator, it was for that. And you can again use these different steps which are listed over there, of listing gaps, finding 5 targets, and then drafting one outreach road. So Professor Rohinish, again coming back to your question of how you can exactly find your collaborator, which you asked in between, was that one of the important thing before you even start outreaching, or before even you start looking for a collaborator, is you should be very aware of what is your targets, right? You should write your targets. What are your gaps? Why are you looking for a collaborator? So that will help you to pitch your message to outreach them in a very structured way. And once they will receive the message, they will be very clear, okay, this person knows ABCD, but he needs help in EFGH, right? So we should be able to find out the gaps of why we need a collaborator or a author or a co-author. And then we should be able to assign questions and contributions of our research. We should be able to give them roles and ownership of whatever role we are providing them. That should be very defined. Authorship agreements and timeline, that is also a break pointer in some of these partnerships. We should be very things should be on the paper, and timeline should be on the paper. Targets and the dissemination should be mentioned in our outreach messages. I again reiterating, these types of quick links and subreddits links are mentioned, which we talked throughout the session, are mentioned in these links. We can directly open them. And one of the keywords which I was talking about, how you can find better, you can do better Google searches. For example, you are doing research in protein, right? So your keyword should be protein. What is your methodology? You can write your methodology. What is your site? So this is a Google search or a Google keyword which you can put it on your Google tab, and then it will give you very refined, and it will index very refined results. So we can use that. And these are the placeholders which you can replace by your own area of expertise. LinkedIn is also very good platform for finding your researchers, and this should include again the method, and then you can put and or, and then what domain the person you're looking for. Is it a and then and again, and then in the braces you should write professor, researcher, or specialist in xyz, right? These are the types of group activity, and we would be happy if you can do it and share it with us over the email or over on the PrepAI community. These are three evidence-based examples of the MOOC providers who have used these types of tools, and how what is the data or outcomes they have achieved. A completion percent, satisfaction, and enrollment, it has been increased. Some of the STEM institute who used AI quizzes in LMS, their preparation time was saved by 30 hours per week. Operational costs were reduced by 20%. All of these are factual data based on the research from the people which we mentioned of 60 to 61. And we also talked about this research paper in slide number 2. uh, so this is there, coming to the end of the session. Whatever we discussed so far, we can plan it and we can structure it in this way, that what we should take from this session is this 30, 60, and 90-day action plan. In the first 30 days we should have some targets, what we should achieve and how we should achieve. In next 60 days, how we can progress better, how we can build it. And then in the next 30 days, a total of 90 days, how we will be submitting the version 1 of our plan, right? So these are some things which we can take from this session. We can have multiple sessions, and we can go deep and deep on each and every topic. For example, collaboration, for example, on any AI prompt or using any tool. But the important thing is we should start using it. We should be at first step is to accept the idea of it, and then the second step is to start using it, and the third step is to advocate and start telling our peers about this thing, right? So this is going to be the end of this session. If anybody have any questions, we can start taking those.
So, thanks, Adarsh, for the wonderful presentation, right? So the best part was that I got to know about a lot of tools which I can directly use in my day-to-day workflows, and especially the workflow that you mentioned. Obviously, I'll try to have another look over the PPT if you will be sharing after this presentation, right? But my questions would be like, in one of the sheets, where in the collaborator sheet where you mentioned that we should, as professors, maybe join collaborator platforms like Reddit, Pivot, PrepAI community. So, like, to inform you, like, we currently use Google Scholar, ResearchGate kind of tools already, right? And it's good you mentioned some modern tools as well. But as I am currently being an active member of PrepAI community as well, so I just want to know, like, how should we respond effectively to some harsh critical peer review comments as well, right? Because recently I shared one of the like articles where I was asking for peer reviews, right? Obviously, the reviews that I got there via comments were very helpful, but few of them were pretty harsh as well, right? So just wanted to know if you can share, like, how should we tackle those situations effectively.
Right, but very personal but very important point put by Mr. Professor Abhishek. It is important, and the key factor there is that we don't take them as critics. Obviously, we cannot avoid that, but because maybe we should understand from the perspective of the person who is providing us that comment or providing us some critique which we are taking. We can take that as constructive feedback, and we can, if there is any gap, we should try to understand it from their perspective. If there is any gap from the information we provided or whatever they are getting to understand, there can be a gap because we are on the digital platforms, we are not talking directly. There can be a perspective gap. So if there is any, we should try to explain, and revise our posts or versions if needed, or if they want to get on personal direct message or on personal calls, if they want to connect, if they want to really learn, then we can provide the data and evidence behind whatever we are saying. So, and every time we should try to take those as feedbacks, and try to provide more information if it's needed, the clarity, right? So it is important, but the observation from our old workshops are that the more you're refined, it's important to add the critiques also in your in your papers when you start giving them for review, right? So the important and critique informations, critique feedbacks, if it's there and the clarity is there, the very good response sheet, if you attach it with your paper, the chances of getting accepted are very much higher. So it is important that we don't hide them, but we acknowledge them, and when we structure them, and we clarify that if needed we should attach evidences and data, and then we should attach it with our paper which we are submitting it for, when we are submitting it for review. So it's important that we should be active on those platforms. Sometimes we will get good comments, sometimes we'll get critiques, but it's important to add them.
Okay, got it. And another question of mine will be like, generally, like our institutions doesn't really provide sufficient funding for research infrastructure. Obviously, there's some funds allocation there, but these days new tools are coming day on day, week on week, right? So obviously we can't use and try every tool, right? So how to manage such states, right? Whether we want to try obviously multiple tools, but obviously those funding issues are obviously there.
Yeah, and that is very widespread issue, Professor Abhishek. So, a lot of as we also saw important survey from the national survey, which we saw, where the PD expectations are increasing, but the funding is decreasing, and that is very very common. What we can do, just to do small help, or just to like be proactive in that, is we can start, we should obviously come out of the institutional bubble in which where we are, and try to find out the opportunities. We will have to do some hard work, we should have to do the outreach, we should have to collaborate, go out and ask for the help. We should come out of the institute or the network in which we are stuck, and then also try to break down our big objective into small funding grants, small problems for which we should be asking the external funders to fund on the preliminary idea or the pilot research. So that way we can start exploring the funding not from the institute, because that is actual problem. So we cannot stop, we should be able to reach out to multiple networks or the fund providers, external fund providers who are there. Via outreach we should break down our problem into smaller steps, and then present it as a pilot small research. That can be one of the ways, but there can be multiple ways, but it's again a very big and widespread problem, which all of the faculty told us before.
Got it. Yeah, I agree. I'm done with me.
If any professor have any other doubts, or anything they want to reiterate or we should revisit.
Um, so others, first of all, as Mr. Abhishek said, the workshop was really insightful. I think I got to learn something new from this, definitely. And I'm definitely looking forward to such more workshops in the future. But I think I have one last question that I wanted to ask, which was that how do we like actually improve the quality and also the probability of acceptance in high impact general?
Yeah, I think we kind of covered that in that what is making the what is making the rejections, or what is actually if hundreds of submissions get for the pre-submission, if get submitted, out of those only 5 or 6 or sometimes 2 are getting published, what is actually happening. The lot of a lot of professors which mentioned, and it shows from the data as well, it was this problem of manuscript problem. So the audience for which they were solving the problem was not matching with the general audience, right? So they were submitting the papers in different general, rather than there was no skill gap or a research gap or a problem gap. The research was very good, but the problem was they were submitting it to the wrong audience, the wrong general. So this way we can spend a lot of time on this part only. As I'm mentioning it again, we should spend a lot of time on the general fit, and then we should submit to that general which we feel that is the perfect fit for. Again, there is no perfect thing that will happen, but we should try to come as close as possible. So we should spend a lot of time in doing this research first, and then submitting it to the right general. That is the problem. Again, designing was again one of the small problems as well, the which we covered in the structure and the transparency part and the submission hygiene part. So designing and presenting your information in right tables, and citing them or referencing them, adding the reference table sources from which where you have picked the information, all these will help. And adding to the point of Professor Abhishek, whatever critiques or whatever drawbacks of your findings are, you should not try to hide them, but to actually put them and clarify upon it. And this will add to your transparency, and highly increases the chances of um, submission, your acceptance.
Got it. Understood.
Yeah, so I think we don't have any more questions as of now. But thank you so much, all of the professors who joined in this session, and who are not able to make it. We are going to make this workshops live on YouTube. You can ask your questions in the comment box. We will be attaching this sources in the description box, and all those things will be there. And I would highly request all of the professors who joined to join the upcoming sessions as well on the 31st March. They will be specifically based on the branding and collaboration and different new topics. So it's all new premium exclusive series for the professors who are there on the PrepAI community. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you so much, Anuj.
Thank you.